Welcome where we delve into the timeless wisdom of Stoicism to help you navigate life with clarity, resilience, and self-mastery. In today's video, we're addressing a sensitive yet crucial topic. When they distance themselves, never do this. Whether it's a romantic partner, a close friend, or even a family member, being distanced can stir up feelings of confusion, hurt, and anxiety. However, Stoicism teaches us that we don't need to react impulsively. Instead, we can approach these situations with reason, emotional control, and self-respect. Drawing on the words of Marcus Aurelius, we'll explore 7 things you should never do when someone distances themselves, and how Stoicism can guide you to maintain your emotional balance through difficult moments. If you find this video helpful, please like it, share it with someone who might benefit, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. How do you stay grounded when faced with emotional distance? Chapter 1. Don't chase after them. When someone distances themselves from you, it's natural to feel an immediate urge to chase after them. You might feel confused, hurt, or even rejected, and this emotional reaction often leads us to seek answers, explanations, or a way to fix the situation. However, according to Stoic wisdom, chasing after someone is not only emotionally draining, but also undermines your own self-worth and peace of mind. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This powerful reminder calls us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, reactions, and actions, rather than trying to control the behavior of others. When you chase after someone who is pulling away, you're essentially seeking external validation. You are placing your emotional well-being in the hands of someone else, which is a dangerous path to walk. The Stoic approach encourages you to look inward, not outward. Instead of constantly questioning why they are distant or feeling the need to prove yourself, it's important to recognize that your value comes from within. You do not need the approval or attention of others to define who you are. By chasing after someone, you risk losing your sense of self and becoming dependent on their validation for your emotional stability. Instead, focus on strengthening your own emotional foundation and growth. The Stoic practice is not about ignoring your emotions, but about not letting them dictate your actions. It's about responding with wisdom, not impulsivity. Additionally, when you chase someone, you might inadvertently put them in a position where they feel pressured or overwhelmed. The space they have created is important for them to reflect or process their own feelings. By respecting their distance, you show that you value their autonomy and give them the room they need to come to their own conclusions. Chasing someone who is distant often leads to more tension, creating a cycle of frustration and misunderstanding. It's also crucial to understand that relationships, whether romantic or platonic, are about mutual respect and understanding. If you find yourself chasing after someone constantly, you may be overlooking the fact that relationships should be balanced. When someone pulls away, it could be a sign that they need time or space, and their distance may not reflect your worth, but rather their current emotional state or needs. By respecting their need for space, you demonstrate a deep understanding of healthy boundaries, both theirs and yours. Furthermore, focusing on your own growth rather than chasing someone who is distancing themselves allows you to invest in your own life. When you channel your energy into your personal development, hobbies, career, or passions, you create a fulfilling life independent of anyone else's actions. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By choosing not to chase someone, you maintain your dignity and self-respect, which in turn helps you develop into a more centered, confident individual. You learn to detach from the outcome of any single relationship, and instead focus on the larger picture of your own journey. Finally, when you stop chasing, you give the other person the freedom to come back to you on their own terms. Relationships based on mutual respect and understanding are built on the idea of both parties freely choosing to be a part of each other's lives. If someone truly values your presence, they will return when they are ready, without any pressure or manipulation. In the end, by focusing on your own growth, respecting both your own and their space, and standing firm in your worth, you ensure that the connection you have is built on a solid foundation of mutual respect and understanding. In conclusion, the Stoic approach to dealing with distance in relationships is simple yet profound. Don't chase after them. Instead, focus on your own growth, respect their space, and trust that your worth doesn't depend on the actions or attention of others. By doing so, you preserve your emotional peace and create the space for meaningful connections built on mutual respect and autonomy. Chapter 2. Don't take it personally. When someone distances themselves, it's natural to take it personally. Our minds often jump to conclusions and assume that their behavior is a reflection of our own shortcomings or flaws. This is particularly true when someone we care about pulls away. We might think, "What did I do wrong?" or "Why am I not enough?" But Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, reminds us, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This profound statement urges us to be mindful of how we perceive situations and, more importantly, how we respond to them. When someone distances themselves, it's essential to recognize that their actions are often a reflection of their own internal struggles or circumstances, not a direct commentary on your worth. One of the most important aspects of Stoicism is the understanding that we cannot control other people's actions. As much as we may want to, we cannot dictate how others behave, nor can we control their feelings or decisions. The only thing within our control is how we react to them. This concept is liberating because it allows us to take ownership of our emotional responses, rather than internalizing someone's distance and believing it's a direct reflection of something wrong with us. We can reframe the situation with a Stoic mindset and acknowledge that their actions are driven by factors beyond our control. By doing so, we prevent ourselves from spiraling into unnecessary self-doubt or insecurity. This is not to say that we should disregard our own feelings or ignore any potential mistakes we may have made. It's important to reflect on our actions and ensure we are acting with integrity and respect. However, once we've done that, we must let go of any guilt or self-blame. The Stoic approach teaches us to focus on what we can control, not on what we cannot. And in this case, we cannot control someone else's decisions, nor should we define our worth by their actions. Instead of viewing someone's distance as a personal failure, try to see it as an expression of their own needs, emotions, or circumstances. People go through various phases in life, and sometimes they need space for reasons unrelated to you. Perhaps they are dealing with personal struggles, feeling overwhelmed, or simply need time to process their own thoughts and emotions. Their withdrawal may have nothing to do with how much they care about you, but rather reflects their own need for introspection or emotional distance. When you stop taking their actions personally, you protect your emotional peace and preserve your sense of self-worth. The moment you internalize someone else's behavior, you give away your peace of mind and allow their actions to dictate how you feel about yourself. Stoicism teaches us to build our self-worth from within, based on our own values, actions, and principles, rather than relying on external validation or approval. If you let someone else's actions determine your emotional state, you give them control over your happiness. This mindset also allows you to create healthier boundaries. When you stop taking things personally, you can approach relationships with a greater sense of equanimity. You understand that people are not always going to behave in ways that align with your expectations or desires, and that's okay. Their behavior is theirs to own, just as yours is yours. You don't need to let their distance be a reflection of your value or your role in their life. Instead, trust that your worth remains intact, regardless of their actions. Furthermore, when you stop personalizing the distance, you create space for greater empathy and understanding. You recognize that the other person may be navigating their own struggles, and this allows you to respond with compassion rather than defensiveness or resentment. You become less focused on what they are or aren't doing, and more focused on how you can remain grounded, peaceful, and supportive. Ultimately, learning not to take things personally is one of the most empowering practices of Stoicism. It frees you from unnecessary emotional turmoil and allows you to stay grounded in your own sense of self-worth. By practicing this principle, you can face life's challenges, including the emotional distance of others, with clarity, composure, and resilience. You build emotional fortitude that isn't easily shaken by the actions or opinions of others, and you learn to live in alignment with your values, regardless of external circumstances. In conclusion, when someone distances themselves, remember that their actions are not a reflection of your value or worth. By reframing the situation through the lens of Stoicism, you can prevent yourself from taking their behavior personally and instead focus on maintaining your emotional peace and self-respect. In doing so, you empower yourself to remain calm and rational, regardless of the challenges life throws your way. Chapter 3. Don't overthink the situation. Overthinking is a common reaction when someone distances themselves, but it can quickly spiral into cycles of self-doubt, regret, and confusion. Our minds often begin to search for answers in every interaction, replaying conversations and analyzing behaviors in an attempt to understand why someone has pulled away. The more we do this, the more we lose our sense of clarity and peace. Stoicism teaches us the importance of focusing on what is real, within our control, and of letting go of things outside our control. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. This insight reminds us that when we give too much energy to things we cannot influence, like another person's actions or feelings, we lose our own power over our peace of mind. When you start overanalyzing someone's behavior, you're giving away your mental energy to situations that might not even be based on reality. Overthinking breeds unnecessary stress and confusion. It's like chasing shadows, analyzing a situation endlessly without truly understanding the cause. This kind of behavior only increases anxiety and distracts you from the present moment, making it difficult to take productive action or feel grounded. In these situations, Stoicism encourages us to stop searching for external answers and to turn inward. We are reminded to focus on what we can control: our reactions, thoughts, and emotions. Instead of fixating on unanswered questions about why someone is distancing themselves, it's more effective to focus on your own growth and self-care. Ask yourself, what can I do right now to nurture my own well-being? Redirect your energy into activities that strengthen your sense of self, whether it's practicing mindfulness, working on personal goals, or engaging in self-reflection. This shift in focus restores your internal peace and helps you regain control of your emotional state. It also protects you from getting lost in assumptions, which only serve to fuel anxiety. Stoicism also teaches us the importance of letting go of assumptions. Overthinking often stems from our tendency to make assumptions about why someone is acting a certain way. We start to build entire narratives based on our interpretations of their behavior, which can lead to distorted perceptions and unnecessary stress. By letting go of these assumptions, we free ourselves from mental turmoil. We learn to trust that we can't fully understand or control another person's feelings, nor do we need to. Trusting that everything is unfolding as it should in its own time reduces the need for constant analysis. When you let go of overthinking, you also practice emotional detachment in a healthy way. This doesn't mean you don't care about the situation, but rather that you choose to rise above it and maintain a sense of balance. By focusing on the present moment, you can protect your emotional well-being and stay grounded in your own values. Over time, this practice allows you to handle emotional challenges more effectively, as you've cultivated the ability to accept uncertainty and remain in control of your own thoughts and reactions. Ultimately, overthinking serves no purpose in these situations. It drains your energy and prevents you from taking constructive action. Stoicism teaches us that rather than fixating on things beyond our control, we should embrace the unknown and trust that life will unfold as it should. Letting go of the need for answers and allowing things to develop naturally can bring you peace and clarity. So, the next time you find yourself overthinking, remember that your energy is better spent on personal growth, nurturing your emotional health and staying true to your path. The answers will come when the time is right, and in the meantime, you have the power to focus on what truly matters, your own peace and well-being. Chapter 4. Don't react emotionally or impulsively. When someone distances themselves, it's completely natural for emotions to rise. We often feel rejected, hurt, or confused, and the immediate impulse is to act on these emotions, whether it's sending a desperate message, confronting them angrily, or expressing frustration. These emotional reactions might seem like a way to regain control, but they often only lead to more regret and further complications. As Marcus Aurelius wisely teaches us, you have the power to be calm and rational even in the face of difficulty. This powerful reminder encourages us to pause and respond thoughtfully, not react impulsively. When emotions are at their peak, it's easy to say things you don't mean or to act in ways that don't align with your true values. Emotional reactions can be driven by fear, insecurity, or frustration, and when we act on them without thinking, we risk making the situation worse. Stoicism, however, teaches us the importance of emotional discipline, of taking a step back and allowing ourselves the time to process our feelings before responding. When you react impulsively, you're often at the mercy of your emotions, and your actions can become impulsive, driven more by instinct than reason. This can lead to behaviors you might later regret, damaging the relationship further. Instead of giving in to your emotional impulses, the Stoic approach is to take a moment of pause. This break allows you to detach from the heat of the moment, granting you the clarity needed to respond in a calm and rational manner. Taking deep breaths, stepping away from the situation, or simply giving yourself time to cool down are all powerful tools for regaining control over your emotional state. In the quiet moments of reflection, you can evaluate your thoughts more clearly and decide on the best course of action, rather than acting out of anger or hurt. When you choose to respond with clarity, rather than impulsive emotion, you are practicing one of the core principles of Stoicism: maintaining control over your internal world. Marcus Aurelius often emphasized the importance of mastery over one's own mind. He believed that true power lies not in controlling external events, but in controlling how we respond to them. The ability to pause, reflect, and act with intention is a hallmark of Stoic wisdom. This practice helps prevent you from saying things in the heat of the moment that could escalate the situation and ultimately lead to regret. By responding thoughtfully rather than emotionally, you not only protect your own peace of mind, but also maintain your self-respect. Reacting with emotional intensity often paints us as volatile or immature, but responding with patience and composure shows strength, maturity, and emotional intelligence. In the long run, this approach not only protects your well-being, but also builds trust and respect in relationships. It demonstrates that you can handle adversity with grace and that you are not governed by fleeting emotions, but instead by clear principles and values. Remember, when someone distances themselves, the situation may feel personal, but it's not always about you. Their reasons for pulling away may be rooted in their own struggles or personal issues. Reacting impulsively based on your emotions often leads to projecting your insecurities onto them, making the situation more complex than it needs to be. Responding with calmness gives you the ability to assess the situation from a place of clarity without clouding it with unnecessary emotional baggage. In the end, emotional and impulsive reactions tend to magnify our fears and worries, while thoughtful, deliberate responses provide a path to understanding and resolution. By following the Stoic wisdom of taking a step back, reflecting before acting, and allowing time for emotions to settle, you are strengthening your emotional resilience and maintaining the peace and integrity that come with self-control. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When we control our reactions and take the time to process our feelings with clarity, we allow ourselves to act in a way that serves our higher selves and maintains peace, both within and in our relationships. Chapter 5. Don't try to force a connection. One of the most difficult things to experience in relationships is the feeling of distance. When someone pulls away, the urge to reconnect can be overwhelming. Often, we feel that if we just push a little harder, if we guilt them into staying or manipulate the situation, the connection will be restored. However, trying to force a connection, whether through manipulation, pressure, or guilt, goes directly against the core Stoic principles of virtue, integrity, and respect for yourself and others. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." This profound piece of wisdom teaches us that in situations where we feel hurt or abandoned, the best course of action is not to retaliate or force things back into place, but to rise above the situation with dignity. Trying to force someone to stay in your life or reconnect is, at its core, an attempt to control something outside of your power. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of focusing on what is within your control, your actions, your thoughts, and your emotions, not the behavior of others. When you attempt to force a connection, you compromise your own integrity. Instead of acting from a place of genuine connection or mutual respect, you risk acting from a place of desperation or fear. This weakens the foundation of the relationship because it is built on manipulation rather than mutual understanding and respect. If a person truly values you, they will return or make an effort to reconnect on their own accord. Forced connections often feel unnatural and, in many cases, are unsustainable. Relationships, whether romantic, platonic, or familial, are most rewarding when they are voluntary, where both individuals have the desire to connect out of genuine care and respect for one another. When you try to force someone to stay, you undermine the very essence of what makes relationships meaningful, the choice to be there, freely and willingly. The desire to connect should come from both sides, and forcing it will only create friction, resentment, and ultimately distance. Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies in the ability to control our desires, not to give in to them impulsively. We are often tempted to fix situations or push things back into our comfort zone, but the Stoic perspective encourages us to trust in the natural course of events. When someone pulls away, it might be an opportunity for you to focus on your own growth, to examine your life, and to cultivate inner peace. Sometimes, the healthiest thing we can do in a relationship is to let it breathe and allow the space for both individuals to reflect, grow, and make their own decisions. Forcing a connection only prevents this natural process from unfolding. Furthermore, By trying to force someone to stay or reconnect, you're compromising your own self-respect. This is a violation of your own boundaries, and when you compromise your boundaries, you begin to erode your own self-worth. Stoicism teaches us to act with virtue, and virtue starts with respecting ourselves. By not allowing ourselves to be manipulated by external circumstances or the whims of others, we maintain our inner strength. Respecting your own boundaries means not allowing anyone to cross the lines that define your sense of dignity and integrity. In doing so, you not only protect your own peace, but also cultivate a life filled with healthy relationships that are based on mutual respect, not desperation. When you honor your own boundaries, you naturally attract people who respect those boundaries too. It is easy to fall into the trap of believing that we must chase after others in order to be loved or valued. But this only invites the wrong kinds of relationships, those built on unbalanced power dynamics. When you stand firm in your values and maintain your dignity, you attract people who are drawn to you for who you truly are. These are the people who respect your boundaries, your time, and your energy, and who will never require you to compromise your worth in order to maintain a connection. In summary, Stoicism teaches us that trying to force a connection goes against the very principles of self-respect, virtue, and inner peace. By not giving in to the temptation to manipulate or pressure others into staying, we honor our own boundaries and self-worth. We allow ourselves to live in accordance with our values, trusting that when relationships are meant to last, they will do so naturally. As Marcus Aurelius wisely reminds us, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. In moments of difficulty, instead of reacting with desperation, we can choose to rise above the situation, maintain our integrity, and trust that the right people will value us for who we truly are. Chapter 6. Don't neglect your own growth. When someone distances themselves, it can feel like everything around you is shifting. The emotional pull to analyze the situation, to fix it, or to worry about the reasons behind their behavior can overwhelm you. In these moments, it's easy to neglect your own needs and growth, letting the situation dictate your emotional and mental well-being. However, as Marcus Aurelius wisely teaches us, become what you are. This quote is a reminder that you have control over your own development, and your worth is defined by your own growth, not by the presence or actions of others. Rather than losing yourself in the emotions tied to someone pulling away, use the opportunity to redirect your focus toward your personal growth and self-improvement. This time doesn't have to be spent wallowing in confusion or sorrow. Instead, it can be an opportunity to reconnect with your passions, to strengthen your mind, and to nurture your physical and emotional well-being. Growth doesn't depend on another person's actions. It is a personal responsibility that comes from your own commitment to becoming better every day. Whether it's pursuing a new skill, diving deeper into your career, or working on your emotional intelligence, these are the things that should define your sense of purpose. The presence or absence of others should never dictate your journey. When you prioritize your growth, you send a message to yourself and to the world that you are whole as you are, and that no one else can complete you. This mindset shift allows you to maintain your peace of mind regardless of external circumstances. When you focus on developing yourself, you stop relying on external validation. Whether or not the person who distanced themselves returns or remains absent, your sense of fulfillment and self-worth should remain intact. You become resilient, strong in your own identity, and emotionally independent. By doing this, you ensure that you are not just surviving in difficult situations, but thriving and evolving into a better version of yourself. Continuing to evolve and grow during challenging moments strengthens your ability to handle future obstacles with even more wisdom and clarity. When you place your energy on your own development, you naturally attract people and situations that align with your values and principles. Growth isn't just about becoming better for others. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, no matter who stays or goes in your life. Ultimately, when you honor your commitment to growth, you realize that your well-being is entirely in your hands. The external world, including the actions of others, may change, but your inner peace and sense of self will remain grounded in your continuous effort to improve. This is the true essence of self-mastery and the Stoic path, focusing on what you can control and leaving what you can't. So, embrace this time of distance as a gift for your personal development, and remember that you are in charge of your own growth and happiness. Chapter 7. Don't let their actions define your happiness. One of the most empowering lessons Stoicism teaches us is the importance of emotional independence. When someone distances themselves, it's easy to let their actions dictate your mood and sense of self-worth. However, Stoicism reminds us that true happiness comes from within, not from the behaviors or decisions of others. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "You can lead a happy life if you live in harmony with nature and your principles." This profound insight underscores the idea that our happiness is shaped by how closely we align with our own values, not by external circumstances or the actions of those around us. If you let someone's distancing influence your emotional state, you are essentially giving them power over your peace of mind. You allow their decisions to dictate your inner world, which leaves you at the mercy of their behavior. This reliance on external validation for your happiness can lead to frustration, sadness, and confusion as you begin to feel like you are controlled by forces outside of your own making. But Stoicism teaches that this is not the path to true contentment. Your emotional well-being should not be tied to someone else's actions, whether they pull away or show affection. Instead, it should be rooted in your own sense of self and in the choices you make for your life. To embrace true emotional independence, you must understand that your happiness is within your control. Your sense of peace, joy, and fulfillment comes from living authentically, being in harmony with your values, and not relying on others to complete you. When you maintain your personal standards, pursue your passions, and nurture your well-being, your happiness remains stable regardless of external circumstances. No one else can take that away unless you allow them to. This doesn't mean you won't feel hurt or disappointment when someone distances themselves. It's natural to feel these emotions, but it means that you don't let those feelings govern your happiness or your self-worth. It means that you don't allow their actions to define who you are or how you feel about yourself. By detaching your emotional well-being from their behavior, you reclaim your power and strength. Living in alignment with your values and principles ensures that your happiness isn't subject to the whims of others. You can still feel empathy and compassion for someone who may be pulling away, but you don't allow their choices to make you question your worth or happiness. Your peace of mind becomes an internal foundation that is unshaken by the external world. Ultimately, the lesson here is that no one else's actions have the power to define your happiness. Your joy is not a product of others' behavior. It is a reflection of how you choose to live your life in harmony with your core principles. By embracing this Stoic mindset, you take control of your emotional state, ensuring that you remain grounded, content, and at peace with yourself, regardless of what others do. Your happiness is yours to create and protect. No one can take that from you unless you allow it. When someone distances themselves, it's natural to feel a mix of emotions: hurt, confusion, and even rejection. But by applying the 7 Stoic principles we discussed, you can protect your peace, preserve your dignity, and strengthen your emotional resilience. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control the actions of others, we have full control over how we respond. By focusing on self-respect, emotional growth, and inner calm, you stay grounded in your values, just as Marcus Aurelius would encourage. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others who could benefit from this wisdom. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content like this, and let us know in the comments, how do you maintain your emotional peace when someone distances themselves? Stay strong, stay wise, and let the timeless wisdom of Stoicism guide you through life's challenges.